celebrated New Year's, and I kid you not, according to their calendar, it's actually 1939. I digress, I do that, but you'll find that it's fun. Welcome to the Wealth Boomerang Show. Is this a show about money? Well, yes and no. The real question is, what is wealth, what is success, and what does wealth mean to you? For those who already have millions of dollars, you may desire additional time to spend with your loved ones. A sick millionaire may wish to give all their money for good health. Some people may want a deeper, fulfilling spiritual connection. Happiness, success, however you define that, is wealth to you, and whatever you send out will come back to you. Every week we speak to people who have operated their wealth boomerangs correctly. They may have boomeranged back from tragedy to triumph, or boomeranged back from rags to riches. Either way, the stories will touch, move and inspire you and instruct you along your journey. So sit back, relax and welcome. Thanks for joining us for the next hour. I'm your host, Jeremy Britton, and this is your Wealth Boomerang Show. Now today we're looking at wealth as a factor of success and asking, is there a secret formula for success? Why do some people appear successful and why do others not? And also, is it just the appearance of success? What is real success? What is success? Should it be lots and lots of money, or should it be happiness? There was a definition of success according to the Australia University study that said 90% of people now believe success is more about happiness and living a fulfilling life. So we're going to have a chat to someone who seems very happy and seems very successful and see whether she really is that. We'll dig a little bit deep with Alena Chapman. She's a mentor, a speaker, an international best-selling author. She's been involved with the study of self-improvement and self-development for 20 years. Her focus has been teaching others the tools through her break-free programs, meditation, online classes, and one-on-one private mentoring. She has the tools and compassion and the experience to help others to unleash their power and to break free from the limiting beliefs that prevent you from growing and begin to love your life again. A couple of her books include You Can't Escape from Prison If You Don't Know You're in One, a little bit of a mind shake up there, and The Prison Effect, discovering how you're blocking your own happiness and breaking free to abundance and joy. So there's some things there that definitely around about the mindset. Alena, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Jeremy. I'm very excited to be on. So thank you for having me.
So you don't believe that success is just about having 16 Ferraris and $48 billion in the bank account. You think it's actually something a little bit different.
I do. I know a lot of people who have Ferraris and all Mercedes and all those wonderful things. And I can tell you, you have some that are happy and you have many that are not. So no, that is not the key.
So the key is whether you have a red one or not.
No, baby blue. Always baby blue. But no, I do think that this new study that has come out about happiness and fulfillment, people are looking for that. They're calling that success. Mm-hmm. But yes, and happiness is a decision. Happiness is a decision. If I say I want, in fact, that's how I started actually, because I was in a place where I wasn't happy. And I remember yelling up to the universe. I parked on the side of the road and I yelled up at the universe. I said, I want to be happy and I want a happy life. And I said it with such fervor that it was a no going back decision. I meant it with every cell in my body. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, the next day when I walked into a bookstore, right there on the table, there was a book that said, How to Have a Happy Life. And it started my journey. Yeah. But, and fulfillment is important. But I'll tell you something. There are a lot of people that say they want to be happy, but they don't have, they're going to a job that they hate, they're in a relationship that's not going well, and I'll tell you what, really, happiness is going after something that you love. If it's a relationship that you really want, then it is cultivating and learning more about yourself to give to that other person. If it's spiritual, it's going on that fantastic journey of learning more, which you can never get enough of that. But it's doing something every day that you love. And if you can make money at it, that's fantastic. But even if you can't, being able to do what you love to do, That's what gets you up in the morning. That's what makes you jump out of the bed. That is what true happiness is about.
So you're saying the pursuit of happiness is happiness itself?
Yes, yes and no. Yeah, if I decide to be happy in this way, if I decide to be happy, then I'm going to look for things that are going to make me happy. And if I am, so Jeremy, it was when I had this just feeling to go and drop my kids off at school, go to a coffee shop, and just start journaling. I wanted to write. Now, I hadn't written anything since high school, and there I was, I was in poetry. I loved poetry. But this time I was sitting and writing down about all the things I was learning and all the tools I was learning to have a happy life. And I just started to journal. I didn't have any idea that that was going to become a book, and that that book was going to lead to a business. And then I was going to be able to help millions of people with it. That didn't even enter my mind. I was just doing what I love.
Let's go back a little bit. Did you, because a lot of people go through this pivotal thing and say, like I was suicidal, I was homeless, I was whatever, and then I went through the long, dark tea time of the soul and came out the other side and bounced up. Your life before this point, like you've got kids, you're dropping them to school, obviously, you weren't destitute, you weren't sort of on the bones of your bum, as we say in Australia. So what was the pivotal point that made you sort of break out and say, hey, I just want to be damn happy? What had got you to that point?
Okay. Well, the reason I ended up on the side of the road yelling up to the universe that I wanted to be happy was because I was miserable. I was in a marriage that, I just gave away too much of myself. I first gave away my career that I had been working on since I was 15. That's an identity crisis in itself. But then I just kept giving away more and more, and it seemed like I was being asked to give up even more, and I didn't have it in me anymore. And it really was just as much my fault as the person I was married to, because I could have said, I'm sorry, I can't give this part of me up. I could set my boundaries. But I didn't. I gave it. And I felt like I was, I felt very isolated. I felt isolated. I felt alone. I coined it the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
It was the Twilight Zone part of my life. And because every door I tried to fix the marriage or to fix myself, or it was a trick door. Nothing happened, or it would be worse than before. So it really was like the Twilight Zone. And it wasn't until I was on that road, very seriously, and I said, I want to be happy, because I said it with my whole heart. I wanted a happy life. I didn't want to have to, I didn't even recognize the person I had become. I wasn't me anymore, A
lot of people lose themselves in a relationship. You start to change yourself to be with the other person, and then you don't recognize yourself.
I know. And it's funny, and I think men do it too, but women, they do it a lot. And we tend to just give up a lot about ourselves until the person that you're married to doesn't even recognize you. We feel we have to mold ourselves to this person. And really, that's not what you both fell in love with. That wasn't the relationship that you both fell in love with. But yet we do it for whatever reason. We have to learn. And the men do too. If they're giving away the parts of themselves, they have to, because a woman won't respect a man who gives away all of himself. And a man doesn't respect a woman who gives away all of herself. It just can't be.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've got to learn how not to do that, which it takes a little bit of time. It's starting to feel, it really comes down to feeling that you as a person are worthy and that you have a lot to offer for who you are. Then you don't want to give yourself up, really. But anyway, that was my low point in my life. And like I said, when I started to say I wanted to be happy, the universe took me seriously, and I was able to find the opportunities, and I looked for them too, you know. So yeah, and I did. Now I have I feel very successful. I am extremely happy. I have a wonderful, wonderful life. But yes, you do have to go through, I always call it the baptism of realization.
That sounds almost pleasant. You splash a little bit of water on your forehead and you get born again and like, hey, now I'm happy.
It's the silver lining around that very gray cloud.
Other people say baptism of fire, which doesn't sound pleasant at all. But
No, it doesn't sound good at all. No, I like mine. So it is. You kind of have to go through that. You know why, though? It's very simple. When life is going really, really well, you don't ask the questions. You know, you just roll along with it. But when things start going awry, when life starts falling down right from under you and it's just crumbling, that's when you say to yourself, okay, I got to find another way. And that's why it happens. Although I've known some people who have made lots of money and then thought to themselves, how did I do this? I'm not any special sort of smart person. I'm not any this or that, but I love my life. How did I get to this point? And they actually backtrack trying to figure out, you know, and looking for other ways to find out how they did it, you know. We call them the unconscious competence of the world.
So for you felt, Alena, you were losing yourself in your relationship, and you'd lost yourself because I guess you'd given up the career for the kids.
Well, I gave the credit, no, not for the kids. The kids were used as the guilt. The one way to always get to me is guilt. I come from an old Italian-Irish family, and we use guilt. And so I've learned.
Guilt with holidays.
Yes, very much. And I would fall every time. And so I remember my husband at that time, I was getting a doctorate in conducting. I was a conductor of choirs. I did early music and women's choirs. And I was getting my doctorate, and I had to leave. And I remember I'm holding my new son, you know, who was just like 6 months old. And he says, how can you leave this little boy? I mean, now with a mother, oh my gosh, yeah. That.
Pack your bags, you're going on a guilt trip.
And that stayed in my mind. And before I know it, I was dropping stuff, you know. I was dropping the doctorate where I only had to do a dissertation. I was dropping the jobs. I was dropping everything. And it just kind of crumbled under me. But, you know, I thought, well, you know, I've got beautiful children now, and I'm going to just be a mom. Except that wasn't enough for me. You know, I wasn't good. I wasn't good at just, I loved it when they were younger, but as they got older, I was itchy. I mean, you know, they didn't need me as much. And I'm not good at just being home, and you can only vacuum the floor so much. You can only sit by the pool so many days. You know what I mean? I've got to do something. I wanted to do more. You know?
So you started a journal and writing down all the things that made you happy, all the things that you wanted to do. What was the process there?
Well, see, when I said I wanted to be happy, then it wasn't just the book that I first saw that said how to have a happy life. Then mentors started coming into my life, and opportunities to learn more about the tools to keep my life happy, to not only get there, but then to keep it rolling, and to see the best part of my life and to move from that point on versus, you know, taking the worst part and staying stuck. And all these things that I was learning, that's what I was writing down. I was writing because I didn't want to forget. Okay,
so we're getting happy and keeping happy, because a lot of people think they're going to be happy if they get the Mercedes, if they get the Ferrari, if they get the big house and the pool, if they get the family, if they get the marriage, if they get the dream job. But then it's a matter of keeping those things, and sometimes the novelty wears off. You know, once you've got the new car, next year it's a year older, and sometimes the kids start to talk, and then they start to talk back. So what's the process of first of all, getting happy. For the average person who's just out there, they're in their job, they're in their relationship, they're in their life, they're sort of trudging along and doing the same thing every day. They've got to get happy, but then they've actually got to keep the happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trudging along, and by the time they get home, they're so tired they can't do anything else. And yeah, I know. And happiness, going for the car, the house, I don't know, the vacation. Well, the vacations are nice, but the just the more material things, that's not happiness. That's not happiness. It's a result to show your results, but it's not happy. And especially if you're getting the dollar bill in a way that you don't love,
yes.
You know, that you're dreading going to the office. We have to get back to what matters to us. And, you know, a lot of people who are doing the 9 to 5, 8 to 5, or the career that's making money, but they really hate it, and going to that cubicle in corporate America all the time, and they're just getting beaten down. It's really important for them first to realize that the happiness has to come from inside them. Everything has to come from inside you, but the happiness has to come from inside you. So you have to take the time in that habitual world you've gotten yourself into to step out just a little bit. I'm just saying just a little bit right away, and do something different. I do a couple of things, but I'll get right to the meat of it. One of the things I do with my clients who have really, they don't know what to do anymore. They don't know what they want to do in their life. They're at a crossroads. Either they're newly divorced and they have to start over and they have no clue what they want to do, and they don't want to be a secretary or a, you know, just like an accountant or something. They want to do something more. Or they've been pushed out of corporate America and they've forgotten to even use their imagination. So I have this thing that I do with them, and on top of doing the gratefuls and all, and which I'll talk about later, but one thing, I have them get up every morning, every single morning, and say, what do I want to do today? And you know, and at first you're doing the silly things like, oh, I'll go get an ice cream cone today, or because you don't have a clue, you know. So you start doing the trivial things. Oh, I think I'll go exercise for 3 hours. I love that one. Someone actually told me that, you know, okay. But then you start to exhaust all that trivial stuff. And then you'll get up one morning and you'll think, I want to go journal, or I really want to start that woodworking I was doing before. Or, you know, I really wonder if I could start doing this more. And before you know it, you're starting to get into something you really love, that you will find that every free minute, instead of turning on the TV, you'll start doing a little bit of what you love. And life, right then.
How old were you at this stage when you said, what do I want to do today? What age were you then?
Well, how old was I? That's a good question. You know what? Tell you the truth, I don't even remember how old I am half the time. So let me go back. How old was I? Ooh, I was 46.
There you go. There you go. I was just thinking when you said that, like I went through, I had a heart attack followed by a divorce when I was 33, 34. And then when the kids went away to their mums for the first time on the weekend, and I woke up and went, holy cow, what do I want to do? Because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to eat, because I used to cook the things that she liked to eat, or I used to cook the things that the kids liked to eat. You know, she liked to go to a particular restaurant. The kids liked to go to McDonald's. You know, they liked to watch the Wiggles and the cartoons, and she liked to watch, you know, Meg Ryan movies. But I've got the whole weekend to myself. I don't even know whether I like Thai food or whether I just ate it for 10 years. You know, I don't even know what movies I want to watch. And I could only think of when I was 17, 18, I used to like watching like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and action movies. And so I went back to that, because for 20 years, you know, in this relationship, I'd lost myself, and I wasn't eating the food I liked. I wasn't watching the movies I liked. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then one day I woke up and said, I want to learn how to surf. I've never surfed before. It looks fun. I think I'll go and learn how to surf. I couldn't swim at the time. So that was kind of a challenge, but I thought, I'll go and learn how to surf because it was just one of those things. And you ask yourself, what do I want to do today? It's a really powerful question for an adult person to ask, because kids do that all the time, right? They just do whatever the hell they want.
That's right. That's right. And it's bringing you back, and it feels good. And, you know, it does feel good. When you get up that morning and say, what do I want to do today? Because, like you said, you don't do it.
Yeah.
And you get lost in what everybody else wants of you, and you give yourself away. But then all of a sudden, it's back to you. And I'll tell you, every person I work with gets something out of that. And I've had a lot of people find, not just a lot, I should say thousands actually, actually find their happiness, what they really love to do. And from that, the happiness just, once you do that, the happiness just blooms. Yeah. And the other thing I do along with that, and I'll give this to everyone because I think it's important, the gratitude thing. Because that's important, because you got to change your perception too. Otherwise, when something goes awry in this newfound happiness thing that you want to do, the first obstacle that comes in, you will tend to say, oh no, and get all upset and depressed and drop it. But if you've got to change your mindset too at the same time. And that one way I start doing that is with gratitude. And I'll give you this. This is a little bit different because everybody, you go to a psychologist, they'll give you gratitude. But this is a little bit different. This is, I ask them to write 10 items in the morning and 10 items at night. Yes, 10, folks, 10. And when you do the 10, you start out with, I'm so happy and grateful now that. I actually got that from Bob Proctor. I'm so happy and grateful now that. And then you write down the 10 things. Each one that you write, you get a picture of it in your mind. You feel the joy of it. Like when I write down, I am so happy for my beautiful boys, then I get this really, when they have important news and they run in and they jump all over me. I love that. And so I get that in my mind. And I go through all 10 like that. So then I'm already raising my vibration. I'm taking the best part of my life and I'm saying, this is good. And then I get quiet and I ask the universe for guidance. And I just sit there for a minute and I just glory in all this really cool stuff. And I'm asking for a message or help. And then I send love to 3 people in my life who may be bothering me at that day, point in time, months on end, whatever.
Love it.
I am going to send love to 3 people. Now, when you do that, you're starting to change your perception of your life in general. That's just the start.
That's our boomerang thing. Whatever you send out comes back to you. So I love that.
Yes,
sending out love, not just to the people who love you, but sending out the love to the people who are troubling you. That's really good.
Oh my gosh, that is a very powerful tool. I guarantee if you consistently send love to a person that is bothering you, it'll change. It'll change. Number one, what they do won't bother you so much anymore, and then they'll start to change. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. They will start changing in how they act towards you. It's amazing. It's an amazing tool. Amazing. So there you go.
We're picking up a couple of things here. I'm madly making notes, even as I'm supposed to be sort of bearing in mind the time and the recording and all this sort of stuff. I'm making notes on these techniques. So the gratitude journal, 10 in the morning, 10 in the evening. What do I want to do today? Very powerful question. Sending out the love. You sort of alluded to a little bit of a meditation. I know you teach meditation to your clients, but what sort of meditation do you do in the privacy of your own home when no one's looking?
Oh, you really want to? I do several. I have a beautiful oneness meditation that I love to do that just helps me to feel connected to the world. Oh, I have a really cool story to tell about that. If you want to hear it, do you want to?
Absolutely. Everyone wants to hear your story. You sound so excited.
This is so cool. No, this is really magical. All right. Okay. So I'm up in the mountains in California. I had driven there from Los Angeles. I wanted to see the mountains. And one morning, I got up early. I was staying in a bed and breakfast place. And I took a walk. And I started hiking up further into the mountains. I love to do that. And so I got to this place where there were, what were those sequoia trees? They were in a group, and they had like a little place where I could sit in the middle of them and meditate. And the energy was so peaceful and strong and giving. I just felt that. That's exactly what I felt. And so I sat in all those trees, and I did my oneness meditation where I raise myself up once I'm all relaxed. I raise myself up and I connect to everything around me and everything in the world. I just feel myself reaching out and just connecting everywhere. I love that. And then I even go up to the universe. I mean, I go high up, and I just feel like I'm resting in the hand of God. Okay? It's a powerful, beautiful meditation. And so anyway, this is the cool part. So then I wake up and I'm teary-eyed. I always am after that meditation. And I thank the trees, and I look, and there's two little sparrows on the path in front of me. And I looked and I said, well, hello, you guys. I said, well, the meditation's all done. I think they're going to fly away, right? They did. And I got up and I started to walk down the path. They hopped in front of me down the path. This is so cool. So then there was this flat rock on the path, and the sun, I got up very early. I got up like at 7 or something. It was cool. But now the sun was shining on this rock, and it was a flat, big rock, and I thought, okay, that's too inviting. I got to lay down on it. And so the two little sparrows stopped when I did. It was really weird. And I sat down, and I wasn't dreaming, guys. And I laid down on that rock, and I think I fell asleep. And when I woke up, you wouldn't believe all the animals around me. I felt like Snow White. The two little sparrows were there. There were rabbits. There was a fox. I felt like Snow White.
Wow.
You know, you cannot tell me that other living, that life does not feel what you send out. There is no way. They felt my connection. I firmly believe that. Yeah. They felt the connection, and they were just reciprocating. They were saying, we're happy to be part of you too. And isn't that the most incredible story? I just love it.
That is awesome. Yeah.
That's one of the meditations. And then the other one I love to do is I get wonderful music that has the ocean and the birds, because I'm a water person, and all that stuff. And then I tape on, you can do this too, and I tape on top of it a meditation for myself that I, talk about relaxing and everything. But then I start talking about the person that I want to become. Yep. Okay? Not the person I am today, not how I'm feeling today, not just the universe. This is about you. And you get to really talk about all those qualities like they're here now in this meditation. And it's almost like a visualization. But you're so relaxed, it's kind of a quasi-both. And you're really envisioning a person that you want to be. Yeah. And when you are done with that, you feel good. And you listen to that 2 times a day plus the connection, yeah, you're going to be on a good vibration for sure. Do your gratitudes, do something fun. Yeah, life is good. Okay. Life is really
so I'm just going to put my cynical hat on for a moment, because, before I started meditating, I was cynical, I was skeptical, I was left-brained, analytical, whatever, this secret mumbo-jumbo stuff. So, I'm assuming, like right now, I've got a job 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, and I've got kids I've got to drop at school, and I've got a partner who's demanding of my time, and now I've got to get up and do gratitude journal every morning and every night. I've got to ask myself what I want to do today, and visualization meditation and a oneness meditation. You're saying like 2 or 3 times a day. How the hell can I find the time to do all this hippie la-la stuff to make my life wonderful?
Well, let me put it this way. You do waste a lot of time in your day. You do. Okay. And especially if you are the one who gets up from 9 to 5 and you're going on, a lot of times you come home, you're so tired, the kids are running all over the place, you get some dinner, and then you sit yourself down in front of the TV.
Oh my God, Alena, are you saying in order to have a happy life, I have to give up watching Netflix every night?
Oh my gosh, yes. But I'll tell you what, even I will have one night a week where I will get on my shows on Netflix, and I will watch 2 or 3, and that's it.
Right.
So I have to have my fix too.
So I can still do the Netflix, but only once a week, not every single night.
Not every night. No,
Okay, that's all right.
Life's for living. And how many times do you watch people on TV watching TV? Because it's boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life is for living. But there's something even deeper than that and more important. And I know it sounds all voodoo-ish, woo-woo stuff, but really think about it. Everything in your world happens because of you. That's why it's your world. Mm-hmm. And so to fix anything in your world, the relationship where the person's demanding, the kids who are running wild all over the place and you feel like you're at their beck and call, the job that you hate, you've created that. You've allowed it to happen. Mm-hmm. Something inside yourself says, I have to live this way, this obligation, this, I don't know, whatever it is. I stayed in the marriage. Why did I stay in the marriage when I knew for so long? I wanted to even stay in 5 more years, but I couldn't. And I'll tell you, why would I stay somewhere where I felt so isolated and alone and just mad? I was turning into a very not nice person, you know, negative, and just, I was well, can I say a witch, but with a B?
Well, if you're unhappy, you're going to be a pain in the ass to somebody else, right? Hurt people, right?
Yeah, it's your rebelling, really.
Yeah.
So, but that's inside you. And you have to go inside. You have to develop the tools to change some of that belief that that's why you should stay in that mess. And I'm here to tell you, no one sat in heaven before they were born and looked down at this earth and said, I want to live a life full of pain where I'm unhappy and miserable and suffering. Why in the name of heaven would you want to be born? I mean, seriously, that's not what brought you down here. Mm-hmm. So you have to look inside yourself and say, why is it I feel like I have to live this life? And what can I do to start changing it? Nothing's going to happen until you go inside yourself. And as you start fixing everything inside yourself with the gratitudes and doing things fun, sounds horrible to me, doesn't it, all those tools?
Sounds like a bit of hard work to begin with.
It's not. You know what? It's not, because once you start doing it, then you start craving it. Because it's the silver lining. It's the silver lining. And then you find, my gosh, I want more. And so the silver lining starts filling in all the darkness. And before you know it, your whole cloud turns into this beautiful silver cloud. Now, doesn't that sound a lot better than a gray, stormy cloud in your life? You have to start inside. You have to start doing the things that are going to bring out the best part of you. And when you start doing that, the universe can't help but respond and make the world around you the best for you. It's just, you can say it's a law of attraction, it's a law of vibration, it's a law of cause and effect, all those universal laws, but it's true. And you've got to wake up to that fact. If you're not happy and you're just making it through life until you can retire, and I hate to tell you folks, that's not the end of your life. So you've got to wake up and say, okay, what can I do to change my world? And sometimes it's not as drastic as you think. You know? Sometimes it's not. And sometimes it is.
Giving up Netflix could be very drastic for some people.
Yes, it could. I know they do have some really cool shows on there. I know.
It makes sense if you think about, you know, we all say you are what you eat. So you know if you eat rubbish, you're going to end up fat. If you eat good food, you're going to end up healthy. But what you're doing with your mind, like if you're watching horror movies all day, every day, and listening to heavy metal music, that's going to have an effect on you sooner or later. And if you're doing these gratitude things, that's going to have an effect on you sooner or later. So it kind of makes sense, even from a left brain analytical perspective. I kind of get that.
Let me help a left brain person, okay? Mm-hmm. All right, scientifically, it's been proven, it really has, that, and it makes total sense. Think of this. If I close my eyes and then I open my eyes and I see something that I just love, a giant Hershey kiss, I open my eyes and there it is. And my brain then says, oh, wow, we love this. This is good. And then it releases the chemicals like dopamine and serotonin down into every cell of your body. And your body is love, 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 love. It's healthy, it's happy, it's living the good life, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, if I close my eyes and I open my eyes and I see something I just hate, what do I hate? I don't hate a whole lot, but things that I really...
Taxes, politicians.
Yeah, oh, good at that. All right. Well, I won't put a name to one politician, I open my... And there he is. Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. With that one, it would be fight or flight. But I still get, something I really don't like. Or maybe I do get fight or flight. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is my brain says, ooh, we don't like this. Ooh, we got to run. Ooh, we got to fight. What do we got to do? And so then it releases all the other, your adrenal glands start giving off their stuff. Everything starts, actually your organs start shutting down. Mm-hmm. It's a fight or flight is very serious on you. It starts releasing all these chemicals that start to conserve in case you have to run, in case you have to fight. So you're shutting things down. You're getting others, revving up your white blood cell count, revving up your energy so that you can really fight or flight. Yeah. And people who, for instance, who live like that, who are constantly worrying, constantly having that fight, that anxiety attack. Mm. I actually had a client who exhausted her adrenal glands from worry, stress, and anxiety. Yeah. And now, you know what that means when you exhaust them? They actually start shooting off for no reason. Mm. They malfunction. So she'll wake up in the morning and she will have an anxiety attack where she can't control it because it's not her thoughts.
Wow. So she's not even thinking about anything scary and she's still feeling the fear.
Yeah. That's what's happened from a long overuse of using that fight or flight. Mm. Always worrying, always having that down. Now, this is scientific, folks. This is true. So why would you want to fill your mind with all the things and find yourself every day? Okay, if you do these 3 things, guys, this is when you're in trouble. First of all, if you wake up in the morning not wanting to get out of bed and go to work or do anything in your life, even see your mate, if you just are thinking, oh gosh, another awful day, that's not a good sign. You're sending terrible chemicals in your body. Mm. Number 2, if you find yourself hanging around with people who are really not a good energy and you find yourself complaining all the time, complaining, all right? Mm-hmm. That's number 2. And number 3, if you find yourself simply not smiling, and if somebody's nice to you, you think they're from outer space, or they've got ulterior motive, okay? Yep. Those are all big, humongous. Well, I'll give you a 4th. You think you have to go shopping to be happy, okay? No, these are bad signs.
Oh my God, you're going to destroy the economy. Alena, if you make people happy just sitting around being happy and they don't go shopping, then the whole economy is going to shut down.
I know it. Aren't I awful? I know. I'm serious. You do a checklist. Ask yourself and be serious. Are you fitting into any of those 4 things? And if so, then start doing the gratitudes. Wake up trying to do something fun. Find beauty in your life when you're driving. My boys are always laughing when I'm driving them to school. We always get the sunrise, and I'm always like, oh, I got to stop and take a picture. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, Mom, not again, not again.
Well, you tell your boys that I took 1,500 pictures of the sunrise. So in a row.
Love that. Yes.
So they think that you're driving them nuts. You imagine what I did to my family, getting up at 4:30 in the summertime and 6 o'clock. When there was cyclones and hurricanes, I was still down there every single day getting the sunrise.
I'm impressed. I am impressed. I am very impressed. That's very cool. That is so cool. Yeah, I do that too. You just do when you're in this mode, you just want to. But, I mean, that's a much better life, I think, wanting to take pictures of the sunrise and feeling good and then saying to yourself, and this kind of life, don't you find, Jeremy, when you're in this kind of life, that when things start to happen that you're not happy with, you say, oh, wait, this is not what I want, you know? So you change it. Yeah. You change it. You respond to it in a way that it's like, I think of my life as a giant ship, and I'm the captain. This is how I really do. This is how I envision my life. And I'm going down this waterway, and there are rocks on the side, and I might get caught up in the rocks, but I have a choice. I can be in those rocks. I can be really stuck, and I can say, wait a minute, I don't like this. And I can maneuver my ship out of those rocks back out into the sea. It's my choice. And isn't that a great way to live, to know you can do that?
So
and not...
Are you one of those people at the restaurant who say, look, there's like not enough spinach in my salad, and I want one extra ice cube, and my coffee was stirred anti-clockwise, I wanted it stirred clockwise? Are you one of those people who's just like, I have to have this to be happy?
No,
because I choose it.
No. My happiness comes from inside. But I do say to the person, all right, so if I'm going to have this, do I have to have this? I'm like that. But no, I'm not overly picky. Actually, being overly picky is not being happy. But I'll tell you what I do. Right now, I'm in the trying to sell my house, okay? Yeah. And I remember I came home. I came home from a seminar, and at that seminar I caught 2 viruses. So on the plane home, I didn't get home till 1 in the morning. The house was being shown the next day. I asked the sitter to make sure the house looked pristine because they were coming at 10 o'clock in the morning, supposedly. And I got home with 102 temperature. And I looked at the house, and it wasn't ready. So with 102 temperature, I'm running around the house because I have 3 kids, and I am trying to get this house to look beautiful. And I felt awful. And then I had to get 3 kids, 2 dogs, 2 cats into a car and go driving around. That was it. With 102. And finally I called.
Probably 39 in Australia.
Oh. And so then I called, I said, are they done yet? And she said, yes. So I go back in, I get on my pajama top, I go to bed. And then my son says, hey, we have people at the door. I said, you're kidding me. So I go out in my pajama top and a pair of jeans, and I said, oh, enjoy the house. I get everybody back in the car. I got in that car, I said to the kids, this will never happen again. I do not have to have this kind of circumstance. This showed me a contrast. I don't like it. It's not going to happen again. And it hasn't. It allows you to say when something comes into your life that you really don't like, a situation, no, I don't have to live this way. I don't have to let this person push themselves on me. I can find a way around this. I don't have to stay with it. I don't have to stay with a boss that's overbearing on me. I can find a way to either smooth this over, start looking for another job, or get where I'm the boss. You have to feel that you have that in you. And when you're living the life where you're not feeling that, that's when you have to do the work inside so that you do feel that way, so you have those opportunities. You're just opening your mind to the opportunities that you have in your life. And what's better than that? Who doesn't want that? I mean, really.
Alena, you started your own business on the back of the book, which started on the back of the journal, which started on the back of you changing your mind. And when we're talking before about people who don't love their job or don't love their partner, are you suggesting that everybody should start their own dream business, at least on a part-time basis?
If they want to. If they want to. It's up to them. And, you know, it's funny. I never thought, first of all, it took, I was in the coffee shop using some very colorful language with my computer at the time because I'm not the most computer-wise person. And this guy was sitting at the other end of the table. And he started laughing. And he said to me, he said, so are you an author? So he said to me, are you an author? And I said, it took me just 1 second. And I thought, and that was the moment I just hesitated just a second, because that was a defining moment. Because if I said I was an author, that means I'm actually writing a book.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, girl, are you going to jump at this, or are you going to run back into the comfort zone? And instead I turned to him and I said, yes, I am an author, and this is my very first book. And you know what he turned out to be? A published author.
Wow.
He was the first. I tell you, the universe is funny. And it doesn't happen to just me. Don't say, oh yeah, well, something about her. No, it's not. It's everyone. And so he came over. He was my first mentor with writing. And I tell you, and then when I decided, wanted to be an international bestseller. I wanted that, and so I worked towards it. I did everything I could, simple things, and my You Can't Escape from a Prison became, on January, 29th, 2015, became an international bestseller. And then from there, the business just sort of unfolded. People wanted me to speak places, people wanted me to mentor them, and I just started making a business. But it all came from loving what I was writing about. If you had told me when I started journaling that I was going to help thousands of people live happier lives where they truly are happy and they don't feel stuck anymore, I would tell you you're crazy. I would tell you I have to fix myself first.
People don't realize they're in a prison with their relationship or with the job. They just think this is how life is. You know, you have to go to work, you have to make the money, you have to pay the taxes, you have to pay the mortgage, you have to live with this person that you fell in love with, but then you started to change and then they started to change, and all of a sudden you've lost your life. So do people really say, okay, I'm going to start my dream business, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to become a pro surfer or a race car driver, or can I simply just change my mind about my relationship, change my mind about my job? What would that do to me? You know,
you can do that. You can do the gratitudes. You can do things to just, it's funny, I had a client who insisted that she had to stay at this job she hated. Now, I'm going to preface this really quickly because I don't want to get into hot water here. I am not saying if you are not happy in your marriage that you immediately get a divorce. That is so not what I'm saying. In fact, I've helped people get back together. I really have. But let's talk about the job. So she was telling me constantly how she had to stay in this job. She hated this job. And so she was doing everything. She did the gratitudes. She was listening to all these different meditations, these books. She was trying to do things fun on the side. When she got home from work, she really gave it her all. But she wasn't happy. She hated the job. And it started manifesting even in her body. And yes, guys, it can do that. You know, you're sending these chemicals into it, and before you know it, she's got back pain. She's got this. She's going to go get MRIs. Anyway, I knew inside myself that she had to leave that job. She has to leave it because it's really eating her. It's eating her, literally. And so I went, Bob Proctor is my mentor. I mean, he's my friend, he's my mentor. I talk to him all the time. And so one time I said, Bob, I want to see what you think on this. And I told him the situation. And he said, he didn't even take a break. He said immediately, she has to leave the job. And I said, well, there you go. Because it's eating her. So I met with her the other day and I said, you know what? You can't stay where you are. It's like being allergic to something and still putting yourself, you're taking all the medicine, you're getting all doped up for the allergy, but then you go right back into the allergy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing. You can't do it. You have to, once you start changing, you know, once you start seeing the real good, you're going to want the good in your life. And if you don't have the good, then you are putting together your own contrast. And you're stuck in it. And that's just as being, that's even worse than being stuck in it and just being unhappy. Now you're aware and you're stuck in it. You know, you can't do it. So do I say you have to leave the job? Not at first. And maybe you can change your mindset. Maybe when you find out what you really love to do and you find some time to go to the coffee shop to write or whatever it is you want to do. For me, it was that. And you find something, and then you'll find that that's enough, and it's enough to start changing your mind about everything in your world. Just being able to do what you love for a little bit without anybody telling you shouldn't. That might be enough, but if you find out it's not, then you have to open your world to other possibilities. At least try looking for another job. In the marriage that's not working and everything you're now learning and you're trying to spread to your mate who has no interest whatsoever, maybe try, you can do date night, you can try going out with friends, you can try getting a marriage counselor. Like I said, I've helped people get back together, yeah. But I'll tell you what, you're going to want things in your life to echo what's going on inside of you. That's because your world starts inside of you. If you're feeling good, you don't want those outside things creating more havoc. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you're very strong on getting a mentor and getting a coach, I guess, for a relationship, which can help you to revitalize the relationship or at least end that one clearly and cleanly without too much animosity. You mentioned Bob Proctor. I noticed from your writing there's a little bit of a smell of Tony Robbins in there in some of the words that you use.
Really?
So I can hear that coming through, whether you'll admit it or not, if Tony's one of your mentors.
Actually, no, he's not. I've never seen him. I had Wayne, I'll tell you, I had Jeannie Schaub, which nobody knows. She's in Fort Wayne. She was actually my first. And well, no, that's not true. She was my first on this journey. But way before that, even from the age of 18, it was Wayne Dyer. And I used to go to his seminars and everything else. And then towards the end of my marriage, it was Jeannie Schaub all the way through the last part of my marriage and divorce, and then all of a sudden at the very end, I found Bob on my email, and I went to his matrix right away, and then we just clicked, and he just has been a great mentor to me for now 3 years. So yeah.
In the Prison Effect, you talk about helping others unleash their power within them, and Tony has this program called Unleash the Power Within. So I thought maybe he was one of your mentors. So we've got some secret names now, guys. We've got some Jeannie Schaub and Wayne Dyer. That's okay. Is there anybody else that you would recommend?
Oh gosh. Well, I love Deepak. And like I said, I do it myself now, and I've done my own. I have lots of people I'm working, oh gosh, thousands now. But on top of that, I love Deepak Chopra. Those are about, and Mary Morrissey. How could I forget her? Now, I haven't studied with her, but I have seen her in a seminar, and I've talked to her. She even let me interview her one time, and I was very impressed with her. I'm very impressed with her. So those are the extent that I know. So.
Fantastic. And of course, you've taken on board the teachings from these people. You've made them your own, and now you're teaching those techniques to other people, which is fantastic.
Yes, I take all the different teachings, and they're not all the same. Like for fear, most people have two. I have a third way that I've learned, and I love the best. So I teach how to release those fears, those deep, deep paradigms in another way. Yeah, I do my own thing too. But yes, I do echo. The truth is the truth, and it's who resonates with you. That's what's important. And whoever resonates with you and you get it, then that's the person you study with. That's how it works.
Fantastic. So we're coming up to the top of the hour. Thank you so much for sharing all of your tips with us. I mean, I don't know about other people listening to the call, but even whilst I've been talking to you, monitoring the time and keeping abreast of the technology and getting my questions and trying to work the title of the book in there a few times, I've still written a page of notes here. So
really
my very quick summary of your entire life's work is happiness is a decision. The pursuit of happiness can be happiness in itself. Doing something every day that you love. Doing the gratitude or the gratefulness things. Asking the question, what do I want to do today? Sending out love, which is a big thing. Of course, for the Wealth Boomerang, whatever you send out comes back to you. And it might be love that comes back in another aspect. It might be come back in respect, appreciation, promotions, success, happiness, wealth, whatever you call that. Happiness is an inside job, getting happy and keeping happy. And, of course, the meditations, the oneness, and the visualization. And for those people who are hearing that story about all the foxes and the birds and things coming around Alena like Snow White, I can attest to that as well. I actually did a 10-day meditation course. And after being silent for 10 days, difficult for a professional speaker, I had kangaroos coming up to me. And even meditating down on the beach, I had dogs come and sit next to me. And their owners are yelling at the dogs and calling the dogs, and the dogs wouldn't come. They would sit with me or sit next to me whilst I was meditating because they'd feel that. And even one day I had a little girl who was 5 years old. She wandered up and sat on my lap whilst I was meditating. And so when I finished my meditation, like I could feel something pressing on me, but I wasn't really conscious of what it was. I just ignored it because I'm in my zone. And then when I opened my eyes, there's this little girl sitting on my lap, and her dad sort of standing over there, and he was yelling at her and telling her to come away from the man, leave the man alone. But she just wanted to sit in the presence, you know.
Right.
And it was amazing. Young kids, animals, they can feel when you're in that alpha state. So
of course they can.
Absolutely attest to that. It's true. You've just got to get out there and practice it. Elaine, thank you so much again for your time. I know you're very, very busy because you're mentoring, you're speaking on stages, you're doing book shows and things all around the place with the prison effect, and you can't escape from prison if you don't know you're in one.
Yeah.
So just thought I'd mention that book, plug it one more time for you.
Yeah, the prison effect was just released.
Yeah.
So, you know, if people would love this book, I think it's even better than You Can't Escape from a Prison. And so if you guys want to go to alenachapmanlife.com, don't forget the life, because that's what it's all about, alenachapmanlife.com. And you can get it on Amazon, but if you go to my book site, my website, then you get a free gift. And that's always a nice plus.
Beautiful.
So
we love free gifts. We love free gifts. Thank you very much for sending that to us as well. Is there anything as a final message you would like to send out to the people who may be feeling stuck and just thinking that it's normal?
Yeah. I would say honesty. You really got to be honest with yourself. Just take the time to really ask yourself and be honest. Am I happy? And do I feel I deserve to be happy? That's a big one, guys. And if you say no, then you definitely need to call me. But no, I'm serious. Those are two questions, and you have to be honest with yourself. No more. You know, we were great at just putting our head in the sand. I'm telling you, take your head out of the sand. It's time.
The truth is, we all do deserve to be happy. But if you're feeling that you don't deserve to be happy, obviously it's an indication of a limiting belief or some kind of poisonous mind virus that's been put in there. You know, somebody's made you feel small or unworthy at some stage. I mean, babies don't have that. You know, a baby is hungry. It just reaches for the boob or for the food. Or it doesn't feel unworthy. It doesn't feel like it doesn't deserve to have whatever it wants. A baby just wants whatever it wants.
Right.
So you deserve to have love. You deserve to have food. You deserve to have a happy life. Yeah, and sometimes we've just got this cultural conditioning, or like we alluded to before, it might be religious conditioning, or the guilt coming from parents or religious leaders or political leaders or wherever that guilt comes from that says we can't have what we want to have. And it doesn't have to be the powder blue Ferrari. It can just be waking up every day and doing one thing that you enjoy doing. That might be the key to happiness right there.
That's right. That could be it. And the other thing, one more thing, I know he said guilt, obligation. Mm-hmm. No such thing. No obligation. No. Don't even go there. Okay. That's put on somebody else.
We definitely don't go there.
No. Okay.
Fantastic. So let go of guilt, let go of obligation, pick up happiness, read The Prison Effect, and change your life. Absolutely. Maybe stop Netflix a couple of nights a week and do the journaling, and then come back in 30 days after you've done that experiment, and if it doesn't change your life, then you can send Alena an email and say, hey, I want my 29 days back.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy. I so appreciate that.
Thank you so much for spending time with us, Alena. You really do embody what you talk about, and I love that. It's very authentic. It comes from a very happy place.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone, and have an awesome, miraculous week.
Thank you. See you next week on the Wealth Boomerang Show.